Sup, welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. I'm gonna schedule a time where I can get Mary and Micah together about what exactly happened in the old server that made me so sour to it that forced us to start our own server. And since one lives in UK and the other one lives on the other side of the United States, it's a little bit difficult to schedule together a prime time to get everybody together, but I will get it down eventually. So Tales Tomorrow RPG horror story will definitely be delivered at some point. I just don't know when. Probably not within this week or next week, but at some point it will. Either way, I'll get that coordinated, but for now, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. The Unbreakable Cuffs and Psychic Guards. Honestly, a relatively tame horror story, but wanted some advice. Be me, Big Barbarian. Two guards were trying to arrest an innocent market stall worker on false charges and just generally being bullies. Guards are way under-equipped compared to us. Asked to intimidate them. Roll a 27. They are unfazed. Go into a minor scuffle with them where I push them around, restrain them, and the guy goes free. If you can't intimidate somebody, even rolling at 27, you gotta be dealing with an army of dragons. That's the only way that makes sense. That's the only way that makes sense. Every single guard is a dragon. They just disguise as a guard for whatever reason. I don't know. We ditch town and head straight to the next area. Aboard a checkpoint next to a village. We're trying to find a question, potentially assassinate a corrupt guard captain. See some smoke and odd patterns with the keep. Think it's some sort of a Morse code or signal. Told I can't roll investigation to get a hint if it's irregular. Just take a guess yourself. The plan is to act like a bounty hunter and inquire about bounties since some of the other party members were wanted, and then capture the other party members to do a reverse breakout. Kill the captain when we collect the reward, and also see what's up with the smoke. I walk up to the keep. They instantly notice me, and despite wearing a hat and being hundreds of feet away, they say they recognize me by my crude sketch that I'm under arrest. Keep in mind, we went right there after the previous crime, quite far. Although maybe they could have used sending. Ask if I could try to deceive them by acting like they must have had the wrong guy, and if I was a criminal, I wouldn't just walk up to them. Nope, no chance. I comply and go to jail. They say they need to put these manacles on me. Once they're on, turns out they're magical manacles that give me disadvantage on breaking out. No trial or anything. Guards start stealing my stuff. Wearing my armor, clothes, drinking my wine. Not allowed to intimidate them to stop. Asked to break out. Rage to roll straight. Roll at 24. Close to the max someone could get with a max strength and proficiency. Apparently, barely not enough. I'm already starting to get over this DM's behavior. Barely not enough. How? You rolled a 24. That is the max you could possibly get for this sort of thing. What else do they want you to do? Can't intimidate? No, can't intimidate. We're not gonna allow you to do that. Can't deceive? No, can't do that. This DM feels like they're railroading you to failure, and that doesn't sound fun in the slightest whatsoever. Now I'm using alternate barbarian class, but the important part is I have 3 exploits I can use per rest to add a d6 to a strength roll. Since the manacles were stronger than I thought, I'd ask if I could, now or later, re-roll while using these exploits to enhance my roll, for a better chance. Nope, you tried once, you can't try again. Then I sit in jail for the next few ages because I can't do anything until I'm freed. Meanwhile, we have deep gnomes re-rolling stealth as they see a bad roll with their racial ability, and a light cleric who re-rolls after they see attack rolls for warding flare, as well as re-rolls the moment someone pulls out a crowbar. Although I don't care too much, all stuff like the rules as written you gotta use or declare beforehand. We also have party members dogpiling every check known to man. I just want to know, should I be upset, or am I making too big a deal out of things? I feel like I was put in a virtually invulnerable situation. Also in general, if you're told you can roll, should some people be impossible to intimidate? I understand being a super tough roll perhaps, but just sucks to roll so high and be told it doesn't matter. Because pretty much any time I've rolled high on intimidation so far, people never do as asked or intended. They either panic, or fight, or run. Totally depends on the NPC's flight or flight instinct. Nah, your DM just sucks, dude. I feel like your DM just has a vendetta against you. Because everybody else can just re-roll stuff, no problem, it's okay. Re-roll as you want to, but intimidation never works. Can't deception, can't break your way out of manacles. Nope, you already tried once, you can't do so again. No re-rolls allowed for you, because whatever stupid reason the DM wants to come up with. Honestly, I feel like your DM has a vendetta against you. You should probably ask him, is there a reason why none of the rolls work? Why 27 just doesn't intimidate somebody? What's the point of rolling for stuff if somebody is just immune to the effect? If the guards are going to be completely unfazed with any roll of intimidation, what's the point of having you roll at all in the first place? This DM sucks. This DM really feels inconsistent. Everybody else can reroll no problem, they have no problem with that, but you apparently cannot reroll something as breaking out of manacles as a barbarian, whose whole purpose is to just be big and strong and rage to win. This DM just sucks, dude. I feel like this DM sucks and they're purposely railroading you to lose or fail in some way, and it's unfair. I would definitely talk to the DM about this, and if they're not willing to change their behavior, not willing to like at least take feedback, then probably don't play with this DM. They just sound like they suck. You roll a natural 5 and accidentally break your entire magic bow. I joined a Pathfinder 2e game starting at 11th level with free archetype and ancestry paragon. It was a homebrew setting. We had to help the fairy summer court against spring, autumn, and winter. I created an archer fighter. We were entitled to an 11th level item. I picked up a +2 resilient explorer's clothing. Spent 2,850 gold on a +2 striking longbow with astral and flaming runes and a greater phantasmal doorknob. Phantasmal doorknob sounds not only sounds like a very silly sounding spell, but also sounds fascinating. What is a phantasmal doorknob? I imagine it's like a phantasmal doorknob you can like attach to a door, just like a suction cup, and just like twist any doors open and just open it up. Or maybe it lets you travel through dimensions or something. I don't know. It sounds fascinating. During the first 2 sessions, no PC ever rolled a critical failure on an attack roll, in part due to hero points, while I am fairly certain that some enemies did. In the middle of the 3rd session, an ancient white dragon attacked a festival from the sky. I acted first and launched a felling strike. Critical hit. Dragon's fight was shut down. The flaming rune generating persistent damage that would constantly trigger its fire weakness 15, and the greater phantasmal doorknob automatically blinded it. It was epic and satisfying. Oh, that's what it does. I used my final action on a vanilla longbow strike. Due to a natural 5 and a -5 MAP, I rolled a critical failure. I elected against rerolling it with hero point because it was not worth it. The GM declared that my character accidentally broke their entire magic bow. The GM read that dry firing a bow breaks it. Forgetting to knock an arrow and thus dry firing the bow seemed like something that would happen on a critical failure. I mean, unless the bow is made out of like glass or something, or like something super brittle like ice or whatever, this feels like kinda BS. I'm not gonna lie. I protested. I said this was arbitrary and unfair, that it would be patently absurd for a master archer to commit such a mistake, that enemies previously roll critical failures on attack to no ill effect. The GM replied by saying that RPGs are about telling interesting stories, and that highs need to be balanced out by lows. GM said that the rules empower the GM to declare what happens on a critical failure, and no, this is not quite right. I protested further, but the GM either booted me from the Discord server or deleted it outright. How could this have been better handled? Well, I'm pretty sure you definitely got booted. I don't think the server was deleted. Pretty sure they just basically kicked you out. I think this could have been honestly handled both on both sides, maybe? I don't know. I feel like just having this just be happen immediately without letting the player know like, hey, I'll let you like spend hero points, whatever that is, to like maybe not have the bow be broken or not be shattered to pieces. But like maybe it's a little damaged, you're gonna have to get it repaired. Unless there was a setup to try to get it repaired in some way, it just kind of feels like super punishing. Imagine you have this bow, right? This bow you spend a lot of money on that has all these buffs and everything. And that's what you're using. And you get like I don't know, equivalent of a natural 1 basically, and just like, oh, the bow just shatters. The magical bow that has all these runes and been probably created by a master craftsman with all these abilities just can shatter like a twig. It doesn't really sound fun. Imagine any weapon that you're using just shattering like a twig just because you, misfired or dry fired? Can you even dry fire a bow? You just knock the arrow, pull, and then let go and fire, and that's basically it. Unless it was just made out of like super easy like branch or something, I don't know. Not having your weapon be useful in combat, that could really screw over somebody. If you didn't have like a backup bow or something, then I mean, that just sucks for you. You just can't use your bow at this point. You have to, I don't know, use a different weapon or just sit around or chuck rocks or something. I don't know. That kind of just sucks in general. I feel like the DM should offer you different options on how to proceed from there, and then maybe how to talk with you instead of just be like, nope, it just breaks and what I say goes, and you just have to deal with it. It's part of a story. It's not exactly a fun story if you just have to sit around and wait for everybody else to fight this thing where you just twiddle your thumbs, chuck rocks at the thing. I mean, I guess you could do that, maybe. I don't know. I feel like the DM could have handled this much better and just actually had a conversation with you outside of game instead of just kicking you for no reason. Well, what do y'all think in the comments below? What do you think would have been better for this situation? I feel like the DM should have communicated with the player and figured out some sort of a solution before kicking them, but that's just my thoughts. I'm just a random tiefling on the internet. Who cares what I say? Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. Undercover DM discovers that Newbie group at local game store is not for new players. Finally, after reading so many horror stories, I finally experienced my first. Tonight, I decided to go to my local game store to try out their D&D night, which I had seen promoted multiple times on Facebook. Now, I wouldn't call myself a veteran player by any means. I only run through 2 book campaigns, but I like to think I have a good grasp on the core rules. However, all my experience have been as the DM of my friend group, and I was really hoping to be a player for once. Should have turned around when I walked in, opening the door to a room full of not just rowdy individuals, but adults having full-blown screaming tantrums. Why did I stay? Maybe I'm just a big naive new player testing the waters, or maybe I'm a masochist who wants to see how bad it can get. Cue the following conversation with the DM. What would you like to play? I'm open to lots, but ideally I would like to play either a bard, cleric, or barbarian. No, the spellcasting is going to be too difficult for you to understand. We're going to start you as a level 6 fighter. That way combat will be super simple. Weird, but okay. Sure, I'll be happy to give it a try. Proceeds to use standard array while statting. Wrong, do it again. What do you mean? I'm literally using what's in the DMG. Yeah, but you're a new player, so we're going to have to start you at a commoner stats until your character develops more. Still incentivize people to come back and roleplay every week. Also, you have to be chaotic neutral because the parties in particular does say some really questionable things. Oh, I was told this would be a family-friendly game. Just wondering, how many people are playing at this game? We have about 16 people in this party. You probably won't get to do much today because of it, but it should be an informative session. You can see how the game plays out. Oh my god, it's 16 players and you don't even get to start off with standard array. You have to start with peasant stats. What, 10 and everything? And you don't get to play a barbarian, you have to play a fighter level 6? Something's going on with this game. I don't know what's going on, but I'm curious. I need to know what the hell is happening. Let's keep reading. At this point, more people start trickling in. This is when I come to find that 6 other players are also basic human fighters like me. This of course results in the other players going, oh great, just what we needed, followed by immediate cold shouldering. Turns out the DM had planned a massive boss fight tonight, and more players means less XP for each person when divided. Now you already know what's happening here. An established clique that likes to continue the cycle of high and mighty nerd superiority that they were once forced to go through. Whatever, I'm not the therapist, I just want to play D&D. But somehow it evolves even further. You know the thing that thoughtful DMs do when they talk about possible triggers for people and try not to include content that makes players uncomfortable? Yeah, they're not having that. This is a gritty, realistic campaign, which I guess means that I have to play out the one thing that I do not do well with, which is child abuse. I don't know if this is fair to me, but as a DM, even if I was covering sensitive topics that players okayed, I would never ever give detailed and graphic accounts on some things. Not this guy though. He made sure that I truly suffered in horrible ways that I will not repeat here. Literally brought back memories that I thought I had forgotten and smiled doing it. Lol. If you have players that are sensitive to some things but are still okay with it, it's still better taste just to tone that stuff down so it's tasteful without being gratuitous. For example, some of the players in my group have arachnophobia. I have arachnophobia. I don't like spiders, but I'll still gladly play as long as not everything is gratuitously described about being spider specific, or my character is not put in some sort of overly descriptive ways of interacting with a spider, describing its fangs and hairs, and as long as it's not going into the gross weird territory and done tastefully, I think you can cover most topics, even the ones that players okayed, even though they can be sensitive to it. As long as it's done tastefully, it can be fine. But no, not this DM. This DM doesn't care at all. No, he has 16 players that have to roll everybody with a peasant level stats, and apparently need to talk about child abuse of all things with 16 people listening to the whole thing. This is insanity. At this point, I finally gave up. I told him that I had to grab something from my car and just drove away. All I could think of was how much I appreciate my friends, who are so happy to continue their goofy little PG-13 adventure. They threw Sildar Hall Winter into a fire and consistently freaked me up. I also got some sense of peace knowing that I could share this here. I get the feeling sometimes that D&D has been a non-inclusive space since its inception, but I genuinely do feel that your DMs out there who have even an ounce of emotional intelligence are changing the game for the better. Thanks to each of you. TLDR, Frick around, find out at local game store. D&D Night, DM of new player table, fully designs my character in a way that makes the other players hate me, belittle me, then proceeds to describe in vivid detail how much I was beaten as a child. I think the most hilarious part is describing this as new player friendly game with 16 people that are so driven to like compete with each other because of the split experience with one another. And how could you get anything accomplished with 16 people at a table in person, let alone virtually? It's just, this is insanity. You know what? I think you playing your games is probably the best thing to do. It's a-okay to play your games. Go ahead and have fun with them. We don't need 16 people tables or having any of this nonsense this DM is trying to pull with pauper level stats and unable to play anything but a fight to level 6. Wow, wild. Ridiculous. All right, anyway, I'm just happy that my games aren't like this though. I'm so happy. I feel so blessed. Oh, and with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.